My name is Cindy Fleming, and I am 31 years old. 3 years is a long time to hold your breath. 3 years of clocking out at 6:40 p.m., dragging my bag to evening lectures, and pretending coffee was a food group. 3 years of group chats pinging about trips I couldn't take and birthdays I could only like with a heart emoji between case studies. 3 years of hearing, "Why go back at 28? Your job's fine," from the same people who later bragged about knowing an MBA. Saturday, May 18th, 10:00 a.m., the University Pavilion. I had sent the date to my parents 6 months ago, reminded them 3 months ago, again a month ago, and I called 2 weeks before. "We'll be there," Mom said, bright as a promise. Dad followed in the family chat. "Proud of you, kiddo." My sister Emily reacted with a thumbs up, the kind that feels like a shrug in sticker form. At 8:15 a.m., halfway to campus in my little gray sedan, my phone buzzed. "Mom, honey, I'm so sorry. Something came up. We can't make it today." The light turned green. I didn't. My brain slid into neutral while the car behind me honked. I pulled into a gas station lot and pressed call. Voicemail. "Dad, voicemail. Family chat. What do you mean?" It starts in 90 minutes. Silence. Just the fluorescent hum of the station and my heartbeat climbing the walls of my rib cage. I considered turning around, going home, hanging the gown on a chair and letting this be a small, private victory no one could taint. But I had paid for this in weekends and tears. I drove to campus. The pavilion breathed like a living thing. Thousands of seats exhaling excitement. Everywhere, clusters of people bloomed, moms with tissues, dads pretending not to cry, grandparents clutching programs upside down, siblings angling for the best shot. I took my place in a sea of black gowns and glowing faces and pretended I was checking my tassel instead of scanning for mine. The ceremony began at 10:03 a.m. The dean spoke about perseverance and grit and the future. Half of it dissolved in the white noise behind my eyes. The other half clung to me in small phrases. "You earned this. You belong here," like someone tossing life rings into a quiet lake. They called names like drum beats. At 11:46, the air shifted. At 11:47, it was mine. Cindy Fleming, Master of Business Administration, Finance Concentration, summa cum laude. I stood, walked, shook hands, smiled for the official camera the same way you smile when the dentist says, "Almost done," and you know he's lying. Somewhere in the stands, polite applause. Not the thunder I heard for the guy whose family brought air horns, not the squeals and blown kisses for the girl whose cheer squad stormed the rails. Just polite. I sat back down with the diploma folder on my lap and the strange, weightless sensation of a kite with its string cut. The ceremony ended at 1:15 p.m. Families swarmed the field for photos. Bouquets, caps tossed for the 50th take, laughter bouncing off concrete. I walked alone to my car and took a single selfie with the world's fakest smile. Captioned it, "MBA, summa. 3 years. We're done." 12 likes rolled in. Coworkers, a neighbor, cousin Jess with a row of exclamation points. I refreshed out of habit and saw it. Mom's Instagram, posted 45 minutes ago. There they were. Mom, Dad, Emily, and Emily's boyfriend, all dressed like they'd watched a YouTube tutorial on Restaurant Nice. Balloons. A cake with pink frosting that read, "Congratulations, Emily." The caption, "Family dinner. Celebrating our Emily's big promotion. Shift supervisor at Walmart. Hard work pays off." My thumb hovered. The post had 73 likes. Comments from aunts and uncles. "So proud. You raised a star." Emily had replied with heart emojis. I didn't feel anger. Not first. First I felt comprehension. The simple kind that hurts. They hadn't missed my graduation because of an emergency. They had made a reservation. I set my phone on the passenger seat like it could bruise. Then I opened the cabinet under my kitchen sink in my mind, the mental filing system I keep for things too heavy to carry loose. The tab read, "Parents, rent." 4 years ago, when Dad lost his job, I offered a lifeline. "Just for a few months," Mom said. 3 months later, Dad had work again. The payments never stopped. I parked outside my building, climbed the stairs, and went straight to the real folder beneath my actual sink, $1,500 on the first of every month. 54 months. I typed it into my phone calculator even though I knew the total. 81,000. $81,000 to be the steady daughter who doesn't need much. The daughter whose dinners are cheap, whose milestones are quiet, whose celebrations can be rescheduled if anyone else needs the night. I opened my banking app, found automatic transfer, June 1st. Cancel, confirm, done. I scrolled back to Mom's post, then to the family chat. My fingers were steady in a way my heart was not. Me. Congratulations to Emily. Shift supervisor is definitely worth missing your daughter's MBA graduation. Since we're making choices, here's mine. I've canceled the rent transfers. 4 years equal $81,000. Time for Emily's promotion to help the family. Enjoy the cake. I read it twice, edited nothing, hit send. Then I did the most radical, gentle thing I've ever done for myself. I blocked them. Not mute, not silence for an hour. Blocked. I set the phone face down and looked at the diploma on my wall. The name was mine. The work was mine. The day could be mine too, if I let it. The first buzz came anyway, because technology enjoys drama. A blocked call still lights the glass. Then a second. A third. The screen pulsed like a lighthouse I refused to swim toward. I cooked leftover pasta. I watched a show I'd been saving. The buzzes eventually became background to the sound of my fork on the bowl and a character's laugh track that actually made me laugh. Pride arrived late, like a friend you'd stopped waiting for. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt aligned, as if my spine had finally remembered what standing straight felt like. I slept harder than I have in years. Sunday morning, sun across my pillow. For a blissful minute I forgot, and then it all returned. Wave after wave, the empty seat, the balloons, the frosting spelling. Emily, the block button glowing blue, like a tiny door that finally locked. I turned my phone on at 8:47 a.m. The numbers stacked like threats. 127 unread texts, 94 missed calls, 22 voicemails. I scanned the transcriptions. Call us back now. You can't cancel the rent. You'll put your family on the street. Not one, we're sorry we missed it. Not one, how was the ceremony? I deleted the voicemails, unblocked the chat long enough to send one more message. Me. I paid $81,000 over 4 years. You skipped my MBA graduation, summa cum laude, to celebrate Emily's Walmart promotion. You chose. Now live with your choice. 3 dots appeared. Then, Mom, how dare you throw money in our faces? We needed help. You offered. Dad, 1 missed event. Don't be vindictive. Emily. So you're making Mom and Dad homeless because you're jealous of me? I stared at the screen. Then I opened photos and scrolled through time like it was evidence. Emily's high school. Party. Banners. A catered backyard. My high school. Applebee's. 2 for $20. Emily's associate's degree. Brunch. Gifts. Facebook album with 63 pictures. My bachelor's. A card with $50. Emily's first Walmart job. Another dinner. Another cake. Weeks of posts. My first salaried role in finance. A thumbs up emoji. Sometimes a pattern is so loud you wonder how you ever called it silence. The phone lit up again. Mom calling. I answered. Put it on speaker. My voice surprised me with how calm it sounded. Finally, she snapped. Do you have any idea what you've done? Yes, I said. You missed my graduation. We couldn't make it. I told you something came up. I saw the Instagram post. Silence like a flinch. That dinner was planned weeks ago. So was my graduation. Emily's promotion is important, Cindy. So is my MBA. You don't need us to clap for you. You never have. That's not a compliment, Mom. That's your permission slip. I could hear Dad in the background. Let me talk to her. The phone shuffled. Cindy, Dad said, careful. We thought you'd understand. Emily really wanted us all there. There it was, the truth bone simple. You chose, I said. I am choosing too. By abandoning your family. By ending a temporary payment that lasted 4 years. We can't afford rent without you, he said. Then Emily can contribute with her promotion, or you can downsize or pick up extra shifts. You have options. I am not one of them. Silence. Then the old, brittle weapon. After everything we've done for you, Mom said, back on the line. You mean parenting? That's the minimum. Name one thing you've done for me in the last 4 years that didn't involve me sending money. Nothing. I let the quiet say the rest. I'm hanging up now, I said. Please stop calling. I blocked them again, set the phone on the table like a tired relic, and made another cup of coffee. Outside, a neighbor's kid let out a shriek of laughter that clipped into a giggle. For a second, I envied that child's simple joy. Then I realized I had my own version of it, a grown woman's joy, quiet and spine deep. The kind you feel when you finally believe yourself. Rent is due in 3 days, and for the first time since I was 27, what happens with it isn't my problem. The next morning, sunlight spilled across my kitchen counter, catching on my untouched mug of coffee. The phone, face down on the table, had been vibrating every few minutes since dawn, like guilt trying to claw its way back in. I finally flipped it over. 94 missed calls, 127 unread messages, 22 voicemails. Every number looked like an accusation. I didn't even need to open them to know the tone. Desperate, angry, self-righteous. My parents always skipped the apology stage and sprinted straight to, "How could you do this to us?" I tapped one voicemail just to confirm. "Cindy, what are you talking about? You can't just cancel the rent. We have 3 days before eviction. Call me back, now." Another. "This isn't how we raised you to behave. You don't turn your back on family over one mistake." Not one, "We're sorry we missed it." Not one, "Congratulations." Only panic, only entitlement. I deleted every voicemail without finishing them. Then I opened the family group chat, unblocked them for 30 seconds, and typed, "Me. I paid $81,000 over 4 years. You skipped my MBA graduation, summa cum laude, to celebrate Emily's Walmart promotion. You chose. Now live with your choice." I hit send. Watched the word delivered flicker into RAID. 3 dots appeared, all of them typing. "Mom, how dare you throw money in our faces? We needed help. You offered." "Dad, this isn't about the graduation. You're being cruel." Emily, "You're just jealous because Mom and Dad care about me too." Jealous. That word sat there like a rotting fruit. I scrolled up through years of messages, old photos, old patterns. Emily's high school graduation? Balloons, matching shirts, Facebook albums. Mine? One blurry photo at Applebee's. Emily's associate degree? Family brunch. My bachelor's? A proud of you text. Emily's first Walmart job? A party. My first salaried job in finance? Silence. I used to think I was the strong one, the independent child who didn't need attention. But now I saw it clearly. I wasn't strong. I was invisible, and invisible people are easy to exploit. My phone lit up again. Incoming call. Mom. I almost let it ring out, but some part of me wanted to hear how far she'd twist this. "Finally," she said when I picked up. "Do you know what you've done? You're putting us through hell." "I know exactly what I've done," I said quietly. "I ended a 4-year payment plan that was never supposed to exist." "You're overreacting. We missed one event." "One event?" My voice rose. "It was my graduation, Mom. 3 years of night classes and weekends gone. And you were at Olive Garden." Her silence was sharp. I heard my dad mumbling in the background. "It was Emily's big night," she said defensively. She was nervous about her new position. "So you all went to comfort her with cake while I walked the stage alone?" "You've always been independent," she shot back. "You don't need us there the way Emily does." "That's not independence," I said. "That's neglect." Dad's voice cut in now, tired but steady. "Cindy, sweetheart, you're blowing this out of proportion. Emily really wanted us all at her dinner. We thought you'd understand." There it was, the truth, plain and ugly. "You thought I'd understand?" I said. "You thought I'd be fine being ignored because I don't cry for attention like she does. Emily just needs more support." "Then let her support you now," I interrupted. "Since she's the one you prioritize, let her handle the rent." Mom gasped. "You're being vindictive." "I'm being done," I said. They started overlapping. Mom crying, Dad scolding, Emily's voice faint in the background, begging me to stop. I hung up mid-sentence and reblocked them all. The silence after was almost holy. I went to the kitchen, refilled my coffee, and stood by the window as the morning hum of traffic rolled by. For the first time in my adult life, I didn't feel like the responsible one. I felt like someone who'd finally stopped being used. By Monday, the guilt campaign had evolved. Unknown numbers, new area codes, voicemails from friends of the family, even a text from my Aunt Carol. "Your mom called me crying. What's going on? Why would you cut them off?" I typed back, "Did she tell you she skipped my MBA graduation to celebrate Emily's Walmart promotion?" 3 dots blinked, disappeared, reappeared. "She said it was a scheduling mix-up." There was no mix-up, there was a cake. Silence, no response. At noon, I got a call from work. A number I didn't recognize. Calm, professional voice. Hello, this is Patricia Chen from Riverside Property Management. Your parents, Robert and Linda Fleming, listed you as a financial contact for their apartment. I just wanted to confirm. Will you be continuing their rent payments this month? I closed my office door. No, Ms. Chen, I canceled the automatic transfers. Ah, I see. They haven't paid this month's rent, and I haven't been able to reach them. Do you know if they're able to cover it? I don't know, I said evenly. That's between you and them now. Understood, she said. Thank you for clarifying. When she hung up, I just stared at my reflection in the dark laptop screen. They hadn't even answered their landlord's calls. Of course not. They were probably busy calling me from burner numbers instead. For a moment, I almost laughed. The absurdity of it all, the theatrics, the guilt, the sheer blindness to what this had cost me emotionally. And then my phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Minutes later, the transcript popped up. Cindy, please, it's Emily. Mom's freaking out. They don't have the money for rent. You can't do this. Can't. The word rolled around in my head. Of course I could. I already had. That night, I opened my laptop, logged into my HR portal, and changed my emergency contact. I deleted Mom and Dad, deleted Emily, added Jessica Miller, my cousin, the only one who had texted, "That's messed up. I'm proud of you for graduating, Cindy." Then I changed the beneficiary on my 401k. No more 50-50 split to my parents. Instead, donation to the Women in Business Scholarship Fund at my university. If they wouldn't celebrate my achievements, someone else could benefit from them. When I shut the laptop, I felt an almost physical release in my chest. Freedom doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just the quiet click of a checkbox marked "Remove Dependent." By Thursday, the messages had turned poetic, my mother's specialty. If you ever loved us, you'll help us one more time. That line almost made me laugh out loud. The audacity of using love as leverage. So I replied once, just once. Me. You didn't make a mistake, Mom. You made a choice. You planned Emily's celebration and confirmed my graduation 2 weeks before. Then you chose Olive Garden. You chose her. I've simply accepted it. I'm not your backup plan anymore. Send block. I sat on the couch, the blue light of my phone fading out like a dying ember. I had no idea if they'd pay the rent. No idea if they'd call everyone in the family to play the victims. But for the first time, I didn't care. I wasn't the family's insurance policy anymore. I was just Cindy Fleming, woman, graduate, daughter of people who taught her everything not to become. And that somehow felt like graduation number 2. Wednesday morning, the rent due date, started quiet. Too quiet. I brewed coffee, checked my work emails, and almost forgot what day it was until I saw the date stamp at the top of my screen. June 1st. My stomach tightened. Somewhere across town, my parents would be waking up, realizing their rent hadn't magically appeared. Part of me expected another flood of calls, but instead there was only stillness, the kind that feels like the eye of a storm. At 10:12 a.m., my phone finally rang. Unknown number. I didn't recognize the area code, but something told me to answer. Hello? Is this Cindy Fleming? The voice was calm, professional. It took a second to place it. Yes. This is Patricia Chen from Riverside Property Management again. I wanted to follow up about your parents' rent payment. I took a breath, leaned back in my chair. Go ahead. They haven't paid, she said simply. I've called several times, but they're not responding. Since your name was listed as their emergency contact, I wanted to make sure there wasn't some miscommunication. There isn't, I said. I told them 4 days ago that I wouldn't be covering rent anymore. I see, she hesitated. And you're certain they're aware of this? Very aware, I said flatly. All right, thank you for clarifying, Ms. Fleming. For documentation purposes, may I ask why the payment stopped? I almost smiled. Family matter. She nodded. I could hear it in her tone. Understood. Thank you for your time. When I hung up, a strange calm spread through me. That call felt like an ending, a quiet one, but final. By afternoon, the peace broke. My Aunt Carol texted me from a number I hadn't seen in years. Cindy, your mother called me sobbing. She says you stopped helping them, and now they're facing eviction. What's going on? I stared at the message for a long moment, then typed back. Did she also tell you she skipped my MBA graduation to celebrate Emily's Walmart promotion? She said there was a misunderstanding. There wasn't. Check her Instagram from May 18th. There was a pause. 3 blinking dots, then nothing. 10 minutes later, another message. I just saw it. Cindy, I don't know what to say. Say nothing, I wrote. I've already heard enough excuses for a lifetime. By 5 p.m., the story was spreading through the family like wildfire. My cousin Jessica texted next. Mom just showed me Aunt Linda's post. Wait, they really skipped your graduation for Olive Garden? Yep. That's insane. I'd have lost it. I almost did, I replied. Then I realized silence hurts them more than shouting ever could. Jessica sent back a single heart emoji. Proud of you, Cindy. For real. Her text was small, but it meant everything. For once, someone saw it clearly. No dramatics, no guilt-tripping, just understanding. That evening, another unknown number flashed across my screen. Against my better judgment, I picked up. Cindy, it's me, Emily's voice cracked on the second word. I sighed. Emily, stop calling me from random numbers. You blocked me, she said, as if I'd committed a crime. What was I supposed to do? Not call me, I said. You can't just cut Mom and Dad off like this. The landlord is threatening eviction. Then maybe you can help them, I said calmly. You have a promotion now, right? Shift supervisor? That's not fair. You know I don't make enough for rent. You make enough for dinner parties and balloons, I said. I'm sure you can chip in at least a couple hundred. Cindy, please, they're panicking. So am I said. Every time I remember I walked that stage alone. She went quiet. I didn't ask them to skip it, she whispered. I didn't know until afterward. That's a lie, I said softly. You knew, Emily. You knew they weren't coming, and you didn't say a word. I thought you'd understand. I do understand, I said. You all decided I was strong enough to be ignored. The reliable one. The one who doesn't need to be celebrated, only needed when the bills due. Her voice trembled. You're making everything about money. No, I said. I'm making everything about respect. You just happen to owe both. Silence again. I could hear her breathing. Then, through small, broken sobs, what do you want me to do? Help them, I said simply. Put your promotion to use. Pay 20% of the rent, $300. They can cover the rest. That's impossible. What's impossible, I said, is you expecting me to pay $81,000 while being treated like a ghost. She started crying harder. I waited a moment, then added, You all made choices. Now you get to live with them. Cindy, please. Goodbye, Emily. I hung up before she could finish. That night, the quiet felt different. Not like guilt, but closure. For years, I'd carried their panic like it was my own. Every missed payment, every late bill, every crisis, mine to fix. It had become my second language, responsibility. Now I was learning a new one, boundaries. At midnight, I opened my laptop one more time. A new email notification blinked from Mom. Subject, please read this. Cindy, I don't know what else to say. We're sorry we missed your graduation. We made a mistake, but you're punishing us for it by destroying our lives. The landlord gave us until Monday to pay or start eviction. We don't have the money. Your father's picking up shifts, but it won't be enough. Emily's trying to help, but she barely makes anything. We have nobody else to turn to. Please, Cindy, if you ever loved us, you'll help us one more time. Love, Mom. I stared at that line, if you ever loved us. There it was, the last card in her deck, the emotional grenade. I hit reply. Mom, you didn't make a mistake. You made a choice. You planned Emily's celebration, confirmed you'd attend my graduation 2 weeks prior, and still skipped it. That wasn't an accident. It was deliberate. You chose her dinner over my achievement. I've simply accepted what you taught me, that love in our family is conditional. I'm not your safety net anymore. I'm not your backup plan. I'm the daughter you took for granted for too long, and I'm done paying for it. Figure out the rent. Figure out your lives. Figure out what it feels like to stand on your own. Cindy. I hit send, then blocked her email address. I didn't cry. I didn't even tremble. I just sat there, the silence filling the room like oxygen. It wasn't cruelty, it was clarity. And for the first time in years, I was breathing it in. 3 weeks passed. No calls, no texts, no begging emails, just silence. At first, it felt eerie, like the world had paused mid-argument. Then slowly, the quiet started to feel like peace. I woke up early again, but not from dread, from rest. I had coffee without checking my phone. I left work without guilt. I even started taking long evening walks, the kind I used to postpone for family emergencies. By week 2, Jessica started sending little updates without me asking. Aunt Linda took a part-time cashier job at Target. Uncle Robert picked up warehouse shifts on weekends. Emily's helping with rent now, $200 a month, and complaining about it nonstop. I read each message without emotion. Not satisfaction, not pity, just distance. The kind of distance that meant healing was finally happening. On the third weekend, my phone rang with a number I actually recognized. Hi, Grandma. Cindy. Her voice was warm, steady. I just wanted to tell you congratulations. Properly this time. I saw the photo your university posted. Summa cum laude. That's extraordinary. I smiled. Thank you, Grandma. We talked for a while about her garden, the weather, her neighbor's cat who kept stealing her basil. Then her tone softened. I also wanted to say I'm sorry for what happened at your graduation, for everything. You don't need to apologize, I said. You weren't there. No, she replied. But I raised your mother. I see my mistakes reflected in hers. That silenced me. I played favorites when my girls were young, she admitted. Carol was fragile, needed constant attention. Your mother grew up believing love had to be earned, that whoever shouted loudest got the most care. She passed that on to you and Emily. I should have corrected it before it spread. I swallowed hard. You don't owe me that explanation. Maybe not, but you deserve to hear it, she said. You broke that cycle, Cindy, by saying no, by standing up for yourself. I let out a small laugh. It didn't feel brave, it just felt tired. Sometimes those are the same thing, Grandma said. Then gently, I'm not asking you to forgive your mother, just keep the door open, in case one day you want to look through it again. What if I never do? Then that's your right. You don't owe anyone access to your peace, not even family. When we hung up, I sat staring at my wall. The diploma hung straight and proud above my desk. I'd looked at it every day for weeks, but this time I noticed something new. For the first time, I didn't see what my parents missed. I saw what I had achieved, without them. A month later, I found a letter in my mailbox. Real paper, no return address, but the handwriting gave it away immediately. Mom's looping cursive that had once labeled my elementary lunch bags. I hesitated before opening it, then curiosity won. Cindy, I know you've blocked every way I could reach you, and I understand why. We managed to keep the apartment, barely. Your father works double shifts now. I've taken a part-time job, and Emily's helping with what she can. It's not easy, but we're making it work. I'm not writing to ask for money. I'm writing to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry we missed your graduation. I'm sorry we chose that dinner. I'm sorry for every time we took your help for granted and called it love. You were right. We treated you like a safety net, not a daughter. We thought you didn't need us because you were so capable. We thought we were sparing you from worrying about us. But the truth is, we leaned on you because it was easy, and it wasn't fair. I don't expect forgiveness or even a reply. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I see you. Love, Mom. I read it 3 times. It wasn't perfect, but it was the first honest thing she'd said in years. And yet, as I folded the letter and slipped it into a drawer, I realized I didn't need to respond. I didn't need to reopen the wound to confirm it had healed. Some apologies are best left unanswered. 2 weeks later, fate, or irony, arranged its own reunion. Saturday morning, grocery store, cereal aisle. I turned the corner and froze. Dad. He looked smaller somehow, older. The lines around his eyes deeper. He held a box of granola, reading the label like it might contain an escape route. He looked up, startled. Cindy. Dad? For a second, neither of us moved. Then he gave a weak smile. How are you? I'm good. You? He sighed. Getting by. He set the box down. I've wanted to call, but didn't know if you'd answer. Probably not, I said honestly. He nodded, accepting that without anger. Fair enough. There was a long pause. Then, I read the letter your mother sent you. You did? She showed me before mailing it. I agreed with every word. He looked directly at me now. We were wrong, Cindy. We took you for granted. We prioritized the wrong things. I didn't speak. I just listened. He swallowed. I saw your graduation photo on the university website. You looked beautiful and sad, and I realized we put that sadness there. For a second, I couldn't breathe. He blinked rapidly, fighting emotion. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to hear it from me, too. We're sorry. You deserve better parents than we were. The lump in my throat was sharp. Thank you, I managed. He gave a small nod and reached for the cart. Take care of yourself, sweetheart. You too, Dad. He walked away, and I stood there between the shelves, surrounded by cereal boxes and the smell of cardboard, trying to make sense of the quiet ache that followed. It wasn't anger anymore. It wasn't even grief. It was the ghost of something I'd already buried, finally ready to rest. 6 months after graduation, my life didn't just look different. It felt different. The air in my apartment seemed cleaner, lighter. My mornings were slow and intentional instead of rushed. I wasn't checking my phone for emergencies or guilt-laden messages. I was checking it for me, for things I actually wanted to do. I'd been promoted at work, senior financial analyst, then director of strategic accounts 2 months later. My boss said my MBA had made an impression. Nobody at the office knew about the family fallout. To them, I was just Cindy Fleming, the calm professional who always delivered. They didn't need to know that calm had been hard-won. That job, that title, that peace, I'd earned them all, alone. It started small. The rebuilding. Friday night dinners with colleagues who became friends. A Saturday hike group that met at sunrise and always ended with pancakes. A woodworking class where I built my first table. Uneven, but mine. For once, my weekends weren't swallowed by obligation. They belonged to me. It was during one of those networking events that I met Ethan, the quiet engineer who laughed at my dry jokes and didn't flinch when I said I was still unlearning family guilt. We started dating slowly, carefully. He wasn't trying to fix me. He was just present. He asked me once, during a walk along the river, "Do you miss them?" I thought about it for a long time. "I miss the idea of them," I said finally. "The parents I thought I had, not the ones who made me choose between being loved and being useful." He nodded softly. "That's fair." And somehow, that was enough. No lecture, no pity, just understanding. Thanksgiving rolled around before I realized it. Jessica texted, "Aunt Linda asked Mom to ask if you're coming." I snorted, the classic chain of avoidance. What should I tell her? Tell her I'm spending it with friends this year. Friendsgiving? Yeah, fewer guilt trips, better food. Jessica sent a laughing emoji. Then, a few minutes later, "For what it's worth, Cindy, you did the right thing. Aunt Linda's different now, calmer, but you don't owe her a redo." That last sentence stayed with me all day, because that's what this whole journey was really about. Understanding that boundaries aren't punishments. They're instructions for how others are allowed to treat you. A few weeks later, Grandma called again. We talked about her basil plants, still under siege, and about her volunteer work at the library. She didn't mention Mom or Dad once. Before hanging up, she said, "I saw your name in the university newsletter. You're one of their featured alumni." I blinked. "Really?" "They're proud of you, sweetheart," she said. "I hope you are too." After we hung up, I checked my email. And there it was, University Alumni Association. Congratulations. Your graduating class achieved the highest employment rate and average salary in program history. We're highlighting your accomplishments in our December newsletter. I smiled. For the first time, recognition didn't sting. It didn't feel like something I needed to prove to anyone. That night, I sat on my balcony with a glass of wine, the city glowing in the distance. My phone buzzed, a text from Jessica. "Emily told Mom she finally gets it. She said you were right about everything. She wanted me to tell you she's sorry." I looked at the message for a while, then locked my phone. Some things don't need responses. Some apologies can stay as echoes. I leaned back, feeling the cool air on my face, and thought about the last 6 months, about the girl who once begged her family to show up, and the woman now perfectly fine standing on her own. I'd spent years earning degrees, promotions, and respect. But this piece, was the real graduation. Because here's what I learned. You can't make people value you. You can't beg them to see your worth. But you can choose to value yourself. You can build a life so solid, so full, that their absence no longer feels like loss, just space. And when you finally stop chasing their love, you start discovering your own. I looked up at the diploma on my wall, Cindy Fleming, MBA, summa cum laude, and smiled. It wasn't just a certificate anymore. It was proof. Proof that I had carried myself this far, through silence, through sacrifice, through the kind of loneliness that eventually blooms into strength. Proof that I had graduated, not just from school, but from needing their approval to feel complete. And that, more than anything, was worth every penny.